Mrs. Hingley's Visit from the Christmas Martians. While the title may sound like a rather bad holiday movie, Santa Claus Conquers the Martians springs to mind. The following is a reportedly true incident involving a British woman and her encounter with some mince pie-eating Martians. Although Christmas is the time for heartwarming tales of miracles, be they set in Bethlehem or on 34th Street, 1979 saw a tale of a different type play out near Birmingham, England. Enter one proper Englishwoman, Miss Jean Hingley. Seems Jean had some unexpected holiday guests which she won't soon forget. In fact, in a magazine interview, she claimed that the event was the strangest experience in my whole life. It's easy to see why. Miss Hingley, along with her husband Cyril, lived in a small council house in Rowley Regis near Birmingham in the United Kingdom. January 4th, 1979 started out as any other morning for the Hingleys. Cyril had left for his job at the local cement works, and Jean was seeing to her housework after seeing him off. After noticing what she thought was the carport light having been left on, she went outside to find that it was indeed off, but there was an orange light hovering about the garden. As she watched, the light turned a brilliant white, then she heard a strange whirring sound. Then 3 beings drifted past and entered through the back door of her home, which she had left open. Mrs. Hingley described the beings as winged creatures that hovered about 12 inches from the ground and emitted a bright light. She went on to state they were wearing shiny greenish tunics with silver vests and clear astronaut-style helmets over their heads. Heads which she said had no ears or eyebrows, and their faces were corpse white with huge, sparkling black eyes. Miss Hingley states, understandably, that she was frightened half to death. Even her large dog, Hobo, normally fearless, was scared. The poor dog stumbled around as if he was in a daze, then flopped down on the floor with his tail between his legs and stared off into space. After a few minutes, though, Mrs. Hingley says the fear began to fade.
I felt as if I were lifted up. I felt as if I were a different person. As though I was in heaven, although I was still at home. I seemed to float into the lounge.
She then noticed that the trio had floated over to her fake Christmas tree and seemed to be attacking it. After their apparent assault on the tree, the beings continued to tour the room, touching and examining random objects. Mrs. Hingley addressed the beings, saying,
3 of you, and 1 of me. What are you going to do? What do you want with me?
As if to answer her, they began working some knobs and buttons on their chest. She heard an odd beeping sound, and then the beings began to speak in a strange voice that seemed to emanate from their chests instead of their mouths, saying, "We shall not harm you."
Where have you come from?
"We come from the sky," they said. The beings then proceeded to examine the artificial tree for a second time.
We put up a tree at Christmas because we believe Jesus was born then.
"We know all about Jesus," the beings exclaimed. Mrs. Hingley then pointed to a newspaper on her coffee table that was turned to an article about people recently honored by the Queen.
These people have been made lords.
"There is only one Lord," the beings replied. The strange beings now began to climb on and jump up and down on the couch.
Be careful of my furniture.
At this point, Miss Hingley began to experience a pleasant feeling.
They looked at me with friendly eyes. Gentlemen, nice to see you.
"Nice," said the trio in unison from their chest mechanisms. The trio continued to flit about her house examining things and seemed to particularly be interested in her bottles of alcohol.
Do you want a drink?
The aliens asked for water, and Miss Hingley fetched 3 glasses full on a metal serving tray. She noted that the trays seemed to be attracted by the beings as if they were magnetic. When they picked up the glasses, a brilliant glow seemed to envelop the trio.
I didn't actually see them drink, but when they put the glasses back onto the tray, the water was gone.
She asked the little beings if it were okay for her to tell people that she had seen them. "Yes," they replied, adding, "We have been here before. We shall come again. Everybody will go to heaven. There are beautiful colors there." The visitors claimed that they had already visited Australia, New Zealand, and America. "We come down here to try to talk to people, but they don't seem to be interested." Miss Hingley asked why they had decided to visit an ordinary person like her rather than someone important, like the Queen. "You are a lady," they replied. The group continued to chat about all manner of topics, including religion, politics, and women in the workplace. Shortly, Mrs. Hingley got an idea and went into the kitchen and returned with a tray of fresh-made mince pies she had cooked for the holidays.
They each lifted a mince pie from the plate as though their hands were magnetic.
Afterwards, when she lit a cigarette, however, the beings became so scared that they jumped up and glided to the back door, hanging on to their pies. She went after them to apologize, and it was then that she saw what appeared to be a spaceship in her backyard. She described what she saw as an orange-colored glowing thing. She later said it was about 8 to 10 feet long and 4 feet wide or so, and had round portholes with something resembling a scorpion tail at the back and a wheel on top. As the creatures floated into the ship, it flashed its lights twice as if to say goodbye and disappeared into the sky. Hobo, Miss Hingley's dog, returned to his senses and began scouring the backyard as if looking for the strange beings. Miss Hingley noticed that the craft had left a deep indentation on the ground. With the beings now gone, Miss Bingley stated that she felt warm and happy, as though she'd been blessed. She told a neighbor what had happened and was advised to call the authorities. She also called her husband Cyril at work to tell him about her bizarre encounter.
I have had visitors with wings.
Birds? He asked.
No, men with wings.
To which her husband cheekily responded, "Why don't you go and have your hair done and tell the girls about it?" Cyril Hingley was not easily impressed, apparently. When the police arrived, they were not sure how to handle the report. The beings apparently left no fingerprints or any sort of evidence, save for the indentation in the back garden. The police officers did measure the indentation left by the spaceship. It was 8 foot by 4 foot, and thought to take some soil samples from it for analysis. After the encounter, Ms. Hingley complained that her eyes were sore for a week after, which is a commonality in alien visitation tales. She also said that she felt very sick for some time afterwards. Cassette tapes touched by the aliens no longer functioned, and her TV and radio both went on the blink for a period of time. In a later interview, Ms. Hingley made the following statements.
Some people have made jokes about me, but people who know me believe me as they know I am truthful. Some people have written to say they think the visitors were elves or beings from the fairy kingdom, or even robots. But I don't know what to think. I know I shall never forget them if I live to be 100.
Thus ends the story of what has become known in British UFO circles as the case of the mince pie Martians. It is not known as to whether Ms. Hingley had any other visitations from these strange beings, but if she did, she chose to keep it to herself.